Okay, good morning everybody. Welcome to this conference. I give you now the floor to Myles, our host, who has organized this conference.
Well, welcome everybody. Just wondering if this microphone should work. Yeah? You can hear me? First of all, thank you very much to everyone here who's travelled to visit us here in London. Welcome to London and welcome to Carbon Trust's neighbourhood. And we have here today a number of people who have been involved in this project for the last 2 years from a wide range of organisations across Europe, as well as some very welcome guests who are here today for this final conference of this EU Mercy project. So for anybody who's here either as a member of the project, but in particular as a guest who's come along to learn about what the project has been doing and some of the outputs, then welcome to today. And thank you very much indeed for taking the time out of your diary to travel to visit us and to hear about the project. So welcome. I suspect there will be a few people drifting in over the next hour who are coming off flights or whatever, so hopefully that won't disturb us too much. I've been asked to remind you, and I'll mention it now just because I'll forget otherwise. You will be given a feedback form. Please do complete those through the day and hand those in before you leave. That would be really helpful. Thank you. So just to introduce, we've been on a really great journey for the last 2 years, and we are very grateful for the funding we've received, and for in particular the partners and the organisations that we've networked and linked up to on this project and learned from. We have weekly calls with people across Europe to review progress and to update next steps. And it's been a great community of organisations in different countries who we've met, and hopefully there'll be lots of opportunities for us to work together in the future. In terms of the plans for today, hopefully you've all got one of the agendas in your packs, which details out what's going to happen today. You'll see that it's quite a full agenda, so appreciate if we can keep to time and get back from coffee breaks and lunch on time. Basically, the first part of the morning will be a number of the partners of the project talking through some of the outcomes that we've seen on the project and presenting those. After coffee, we have some great speakers from the European Commission, Clemens Road from Fraunhofer, talking about a different project, Deep Database. We also have somebody representing the copper industry, talking about the challenges in decarbonising that industry. And somebody from Carbon Trust finally before lunch to talk about green finance and green bonds and the emergence of that as a way of raising funds to focus on energy efficiency and industrial energy efficiency and decarbonisation. After lunch, we have a number of speakers as well, guest speakers, talking about some of the outputs from the project, but also some of the updates on key sectors, including the agriculture and food sector. And after coffee, there's a range of different speakers from municipal multi-utility who are leading their sector in Italy, from Nesco and an energy efficiency consultancy, one from Romania, one from Italy, and another food group as well coming from Greece. So you can see through the day we've got a combination of updates from the project as well as some really up-to-date progress and activities that are going on in a wide range of sectors, in a wide range of countries, and really updating where things are in terms of energy efficiency and broader sustainability across Europe. Just wanted to quickly share with you a project that Carbon Trust is just kicking off, which sits very nicely with what we've been doing here in the EU project in Europe. And this is a SE for All funded project with UNIDO. And it's looking at a lot of the themes that we've seen in this project, but looking more broadly at developing countries across the world. Don't need to tell everyone in the room, but we do know that industrial energy efficiency represents a huge untapped opportunity still, which can lead to significant cost and energy reductions as well as carbon reductions. This project will integrate, many organisations led by UNIDO, this particular stream for industrial energy efficiency, and a wide range of partners, industry associations, finance providers, etc. And you can see just here briefly the key themes from looking at policy for energy efficiency in industry, looking at capacity building and training skills, in particular looking at developing pipelines of opportunity across key sectors in industry, and finally looking at the financing side and bringing financing partners. So if anybody's interested in learning a bit more about this project, it does build very much on a lot of the outputs that we've seen and a lot of the themes that we've been developing in this existing project, then please do touch base with myself. I'm happy to introduce you to the team. And you can see here finally just the range of countries and sectors that the project is looking to target. Quite a number of developing large industry sectors across the world. Finally, I just wanted to briefly introduce, I guess, a little bit of the sort of themes that we are seeing here at Carbon Trust in industry and in key sectors that I think will build on the outputs that we'll hear about today and some of the leading positions that some of the corporates that are speaking and organisations that are speaking today, where they're sitting in terms of the curve. We've certainly seen a dramatic change since Paris in the scale of ambition and the scale of collaboration that individual companies and sectors and value chains are setting themselves around energy reduction, cost reduction, and environmental impact reduction. And you see it in the press, we'll see some examples today, but really the ambition and the scale of targets being set really are game-changing in terms of what sectors are looking at. What that will clearly do is trigger huge investment. It will also require significant change. It may bring new players into markets. It may create big risks for existing players in markets where they are not able to adapt or don't adapt. But this is very much a different scale of ambition and change that we've seen before. I think the other thing we would say is on that, this collaboration point is very important, working along the value chain, companies working with partners. We see a lot of, for example, food retailers wanting to really work with food manufacturers in their sectors. And whereas before they had very much a customer-supplier relationship that had quite short-term commitments, they're really now saying, for our large suppliers, we want to establish a long-term relationship that can unlock value and drive change and drive improved sustainability, which is really great because the scale of opportunity really changes in terms of what can be achieved, and obviously it unlocks a much greater prize. And finally, I'll just point out, it's pretty obvious, but it has been quite startling, and it is making quite an impact on some sectors already. The demonstration of how quickly markets can change, how important it is for companies and sectors to be on the ball in terms of what's happening in their sectors in the UK, Europe and globally, and how quickly things can change. A couple of examples of that I would raise. Probably the most visible here, certainly in the UK, and I know it's not restricted to the UK, has been the sudden increase in awareness of plastics and plastic waste, and the importance of reducing plastics, dealing with the waste, looking at recycling models, and potentially changing products. We've seen big retailers, big product developers suddenly waking up to the need to respond to what is being driven from press, being driven from consumer. But actually it's a massive change. Big retailers are being pulled up in the press on a daily basis at the moment about plastic and waste. Examples being put out across the press, and actually some of the reactions that some of the companies are making quite significant. And it's great to see that there is that ability to deliver change. But what it does also demonstrate is if you're not willing to look at change and respond to change, there's a real danger you have left behind. Probably the second example, and one that's definitely European-wide and well global as well, is cars and vehicles. And here in the UK, so we've had huge negative impacts on the market for diesel vehicles. Obviously driven from some of the recent press on VW tests, but also being driven from a lot of the issues around local air pollution in cities. Suddenly, the markets for diesel vehicles, only today, Jaguar Land Rover announced that they're cutting production because of the reduction in demand for diesel vehicles. Talking to vehicle retailers, there's been a huge switch from diesel to petrol. And of course, the obvious evolution is the emergence of hybrids and EV vehicles, and the momentum that we're seeing in terms of changes in expectation of how quickly those new technologies, those new infrastructures, those new consumer demands, both corporate and personal demands, are changing that market, have been quite dramatic. And there will be a lot of players in the market, whether they're upstream or whether they're car manufacturers or even retailers, who will be caught sleeping. And there'll also be a number of players who will emerge into that sector and potentially grab large market shares. So there are a couple of examples, I think, of changes that we see linked to our industry of sustainability that are having major change to the rate of change and the scale of ambition, which is very exciting. It will drive at board level and investor level desire to see investment and change and innovation and new technology, which backs up a lot of the work that has been done for many years. Some leading companies have embraced, but a lot of companies have done, I won't call it the bare minimum, but have just been sort of ticking along. And I think now we're seeing that changing gear, change of speed, and recognition that tomorrow's world looks very different from today's world. And there will be winners and there will be losers. And there are great opportunities, but they have to be invested in, they have to be believed in, and particularly there has to be collaboration, which is a lovely theme for this project, collaboration. So, apologies if I've gone a bit too long, but again, please do enjoy the day, and very much look forward to hearing some of the presentations, and look forward to speaking to some of you at coffee and lunch. So, thank you.